So recently I've been informed that there's a decent amount of drama in the Ghost of Tabor community. I thought today I would just kind of cover it, mostly because I haven't made a video and I want a little bit extra clout, so you know how it is. So anyways, today I'm just covering every single thing that has happened, all the drama videos, all the claims, everything that's been debunked and whatnot. I'll also be sharing some of my own opinions that no one asked for, so let's just get straight into it. I think we should start at the origin of how everything started. I believe it was a YouTuber called it's eGoat47. Sorry, I cannot read for some reason. Anyways, the YouTuber made a video called The Truth About Ghost of Tabor. And basically it was a rant style video where he just covered everything, all his opinions on Ghost of Tabor and why he just doesn't like it. Or at least at its current state. I just want to cover a few of the main things he said. I won't show off the whole video because it's 10 minutes and I don't want this video to be like an hour long. We'll start at the beginning and go to the end in the same order he did. So the first things first, he covered that Ghost of Tabor is just a copycat from the trader levels, the flea market, the bunker upgrades, and the logo, which to be fair, a lot of this stuff is fairly similar, if not almost exactly how it is in Tarkov. They don't necessarily advertise themselves otherwise, but at the same time saying it's an exact copy paste, while kind of close, isn't exactly on there. And he also makes a point right off the bat about saying that they're working on two other copy and paste, Silent North and Grim. And I can totally see that one company making all three of these games might be a red flag in his opinion, I'm sure. I think all the devs and everyone on the team are actually fairly passionate about what they're doing on there, and Ghost of Tabor would never be where it is now without that passion. And we can't say for sure now, but we're hopefully looking forward to two other great games that are coming soon. Anyways, next up he talks about how they're giving out selling an unreleased game for 25 bucks.
But at the same time, they haven't even finished their first game and they're selling it for $20 with the addition of other packages that you can buy the same way you can buy with Escape from Tarkov.
And I mean, maybe like a few years ago, like 2019 era, like around there, that was the last time that actually like wasn't a thing, to be honest. Now, I'm not saying it's a good thing. I don't really like that every single game is being sold as an open beta, but saying that selling their game for 25 bucks is completely unfair. I don't know if that's exactly how I would put it, especially with the DLCs. The DLCs, I can get how having a DLC pack or like a few DLC packs out before the game is fully finished, yeah, that could be annoying, but they're just on par with every other game. They're not going above and beyond when it comes to that aspect necessarily, but also this helps fund their future work and their employees and everything like that. And if they were doing the free beta that a lot of other games also try to do, there's basically a split right now of games that do free betas and then their paid full game, or their paid early beta that goes into their full game. Last time we saw something like this similar and an explosively popular game was Pavlov's Shack, in my opinion. Probably the closest example to this. The second they went paid, most of the players complained about it, which I think is really dumb in the first place to complain about, because they were saying they were getting the same game but not for 25 bucks. Either way you go, you're in a bad spot now, unless you just don't do an open beta at all. But Tabor's in a spot where they kind of needed to get this extra player feedback. It just so happened that their game's popularity absolutely exploded through the roof. And personally, I feel like 25 bucks isn't even an unfair price point for a game in 2024. I could be mistaken, but Tabor has probably been one of my most fun purchases and one of the games I actually get my time's worth out of. All right, so next up, he brings up the point that they use paid ad sets and assets in general, which I feel like, yes, can be a red flag, but that's for games that are similar to Greed of Man, where they're games that have not been fleshed out at all. They're just a bunch of free assets stacked together with nothing behind it. And I feel like Tabor is just not the same at all. He brings this up in the point that they use the bunker cat, and he goes on later, and Nova ZQ, which we'll bring up later, will go on about more assets that they use. But especially about the bunker cat, complaining about that one in particular is just a little weird to me, because that's a really controversial update recently, because a lot of people wanted bunker cat until bunker cat came out, then a lot more people complained about it. But it's weird to complain about them spending less time on it exactly to get their concept down, which he says he's not against, but it's a red flag. So I'm a little confused on his point here.
And speaking of making bank, they're also using Unreal assets from the marketplace too. With the new cat update that they have, it's from the marketplace on Unreal. Now, mind you, I don't think asset usage is a bad thing, and especially trying to get a concept of what players like or don't like. And I think that's fine, but at the same time, it gives a big red flag and solidifies the idea of their mentality saying, hey, let's just copy and paste this game over or buy an asset to use in the game to try to make our players happy.
I like entirely see how it's a red flag, but at the same time, it's just, it's one of the weirder ways to bring it up. But also, in the first place, I don't believe paid assets are even necessarily a red flag if the game is actually being worked on, which is the difference between other asset flips. Which he does not, I will say this now, he does not call this an asset flip, but I feel like it's somewhat implied through the way he's saying it. But once again, I will say he did not outright say that it was an asset flip. I almost brushed over this, but to build upon this, he also says that with 30 plus employees, they shouldn't be needing assets or using assets that frequently. They should be making it in-house.
What's the point of getting these assets? We can get these developers to model and try to animate the cat. Why? They have 30 plus employees now in their business. I think you can look it up on LinkedIn. The number might be different, but they have 30 plus employees in their company. Yet they want to buy an asset from the marketplace to implement into their game. It just doesn't make any sense to me.
Which I feel like is another weird point, because them having 30 employees isn't like a huge amount. Now, don't get me wrong. I don't think he has game dev experience. I'm not sure about that, so I'll say that outright too. I definitely don't. I feel like even 30 people, I know there's games made with smaller teams. He brings up BattleBit, which is made by, I think he said a 4-man team. 3 or 4 is what he said. But that doesn't mean 30 by any means is a huge team from what I know. And also, you have to keep in mind that not all 30 people employed by Combat Waffle Studios are game devs, because they have content creators, they have other people in other roles that aren't just working on the game. And they do have a modeler or a few modelers that are always working on replacing things. And I know they recently updated their roadmap to update and reflect this, ever since NovaZQ's video came out. But I feel like it's just important to point out that just because they have 30 employees does not mean all 30 employees are working on the game itself, or at least at its face value. All right, and this one's purely just me being mean. I'll be completely honest, but do you have a problem with the Uwu DLC? Like, is it that big of a deal? I didn't notice that people were that upset. I knew some people were, but just the way you said Uwu Cat Girl DLC, you sounded a little mad. I'm not gonna lie.
Play. And they also added in DLC, by the way. They added in that John Wick DLC. They added in Uwu Cat Girl skins and whatever else.
Anyways, and while brushing upon the DLC, he also mentions that he doesn't mind DLC being in the game, but he finds it annoying that the game doesn't have much of a concept grounded yet. And he says he gets it completely, but he also says at the same time that if you have a game that doesn't have much of a concept fully grounded, it's annoying. And I kind of just want to bring up how oddly sideways and flippy floppy I feel like this is. He kind of says that they don't have a fully grounded concept, but they're also hardcore copy and pasting Tarkov, which I feel like if they're copy and pasting, they have a fine idea of the concept of the game. So just kind of a weird way to have his metaphorical cake and eat it too. I don't know. All right, I'm going to cover one last thing because I don't want this video, like I said, to be like an hour long, and it's already been stretching on for so long on only the smallest part of the video. But he says he's sick and tired of the PvP and PvE, which is weird because this is a PvP PvE game. I don't get his point. I think he just wants to play a story mode game. He talks about wanting lore and whatnot. I get that. I just don't think this game is for him, maybe.
And you could say, oh, why don't you just do these quests? You know, you can do these quests and make it easy on yourself for the grind. You know, just get good. It's a huge skill issue for you. Let me explain something to you. I'm sick and tired of just doing PvP, and I'm tired of doing PvE as well.
I don't know. Anyways, everyone has their own opinions. Don't attack him for his opinions, obviously. Don't attack anyone. Attack me. If you want to leave a hate comment, leave it here, because honestly, if anyone deserves it, it's probably me. Anyways, but the bigger part of this controversy is NovaZQ's video and Combat Waffle's response to it. So let's just get straight into that. All right, so I know I originally said I wanted to focus more on NovaZQ's video, but even I can look dumb in my own video, so I'll do that right now. I'm gonna try to brush over this video as fast as I can and just cover the main points because we've already been here for 8 minutes. And also, since Combat Waffle's already officially responded, we already know most of the stuff that's been debunked in the video, so we'll just try to cover all of it at once if we can. Alright, first things first, once again, the Bunker Cat. He says don't add any new content until you fix the bugs, and I'm just gonna skip to closer towards the end of the video where he says that we need content. So, bro wants both sides. Another wants his cake and eat it too moment.
But let me start off by addressing the newly added Bunker Cat, Xena. Now, I don't know how many times I could say this, but please fix the bugs before you actually add content to the game. I'm not saying that this is a bad game, but what I am saying is that they need to do the following. Number 2, bring fresh content to the game like new guns and equipment, and maybe even a new health system. Or even a full new health system, or even a new item.
Alright, and then next up, I saved one thing from Goat's video that I did not mention until right now specifically for one reason. I think Nova might have legitimately, used the same joke as Goat did in his video. I'll just show you the two videos side by side, and I'll let you guys decide.
And then that's not even the worst part. Their damn logo screams, copy my homework, but make it look like it's yours kind of deal.
We all know Ghost of Tabor is trying its hardest to be a VR version of Tarkov. Basically, Tabor said to Tarkov, I'll copy your homework, but I'll just change 1 or 2 answers and it'll still pass.
Like, did he copy his homework and change 1 or 2 words? Like, I'll be the third one to use the same joke. And I know this joke is like a popular joke to use, but like he used it in the same exact way almost. Like I said, he changed his like 2 words. I don't know if he's being ironic. I don't know, man. I don't know.
But I wanted to point something out. Please tell me where the headsets are in this game.
Okay, and then he brings up the fact that they use like assets and trailers that aren't in the game. I didn't know that was a huge deal. And Combat Waffle has officially now pointed out that if they use assets that aren't in the game or won't be in the game, that they'll specify in the trailer now, which I think is cool, but slightly overkill. I didn't notice that was a big deal to some people. He said they're using it as like a form of like clickbait to get more eyes on the game to overhype it for what it really is. And to be honest, bro, if having a headset in your VR game changes like everything, I don't get it, dude. I don't. Maybe I'm just dumb for not getting this stuff, but like, would a headset really make you guys or make more people in general want to play the game? Like, did you only get into the game because one trailer had a headset in it? Then he brings up some paid assets that they use, like the military tents and some of the crates and some of missile silo. And I just don't think using paid assets is a huge deal. I get recently we've become more aware of asset flips, but I feel like it's fairly obvious that Tabor just isn't one of them. And also, I know I'm going to be made fun of for using the same joke as I just made fun of someone else for using the same joke. But bro, if you have thousands of hours in Tabor and you are calling Matka Miest Mika, I'm embarrassed for you, dude. Like, respectfully as possible, there's no way this is not a joke. Like, at all. There's no way.
You know the corpses that is hanging above the collector room on Church on Mika?
Anyways, and another point on assets here.
The drawers and even the armor containers that have either a helmet spawn or even some type of supply or body armor spawn. Even those green crates are assets as well. I'm not saying that this is a bad game, but at the same time, if this doesn't stop, I don't know what it's gonna look like for the future.
I'm gonna go out on a whim and say it will look probably pretty much how it looks now if they keep doing exactly what they're doing. Now that might be a really, really hot take, but you know, I'll take a shot in the dark and just guess. All right, and then next up he brings up that all of Underground Matka is probably an asset. And he also brings up Unreal Engine plugins that are also assets, I assume is what he kind of means. Like stock plugins. And I'll just let Z Storm from Combat Waffle just explain all of this because he'll do a much better job than I could.
Now onto Nova's claim that the entire Matka Underground map was used from the sewerage pack. Now this is extremely misleading. We did use the pack for part of the map, and our artist went in and rebuilt all the meshes to optimize the pieces that were in the pack for usage on mobile platforms so that your XR2 chipset wouldn't explode when loading into the level. They then put the textures that came in that pack back on top of those meshes that they rebuilt, so it's nice and clean. Then on top of this, they meticulously created the subway system with a lot of detail, as well as the rest of Matka Underground that you don't see listed here in this pack.
And that covers the creation of Underground Matka from the claim of using an asset for it. And then next up are the plugins, so here's how he explains those.
Onto the plugins accusations. So taking a look at this list that was here in the video, the Character AI plugin is a base Unreal plugin, as well as a vast majority of these other plugins, which, as I was just taught by our developers today, are actually core plugins that make up what Unreal Engine is as a whole. Many of these base plugins have been heavily modified to suit the needs of Ghost of Tabor. There are other plugins on this list as well that were created in-house by our developers, such as the medical system, because as you remember, when it was implemented, it was an entire new core system added to Tabor.
He keeps on going about more stuff about it, but I feel like that was the base concept and I don't want to steal more of their content because Z-Storm puts a lot of work into what he does. Also, low-key, let me simp for him real quick. He's a really good content creator. Go watch him later. Just saying, look up Z-Storm. You'll love his videos. Anyways, okay, I'm sorry.
But lastly, 3. Listen to people who actually take the game serious. And I mean actual people, not children. Like me, Timeless, Tan Variant, Proxy Boom, and many other content creators who actually care about this game. And even Twitch streamers like WD and Alpha Bros.
Okay, out of everything in all these videos, this is what I feel the most obligated out of all of them to talk about. And this one just specifically, I don't know why, it just kind of bugs me. The way he brings this up is almost like content creators should be, like, their opinions should be held above the rest of the community. We're not the only ones playing the game. I understand that we're kind of in a transactional thing. We help them out by showing their game to new audiences. And obviously their game brings an audience to us. And I love that, don't get me wrong. I love everything like that. It's so cool. And I love being able to be a part of this community. But it's it's just the way he makes it seem like us content creators are above the normal player. I really hate that. We're all just people, bro. Just some of us are making YouTube videos about the game, and some of us are also just streaming the game. I get like something about like making it seem like we're above other people. Just I've said it like 3 times on repeat. I'm sorry. It just pisses me off, bro. And also, us content creators can just honestly have dumb ideas. Like I said, we're just people. Some people have dumb ideas, some people have good ones. He brings up the fact that they should be listening to more than just the kids that play the game. But like, dude, you brought up not liking the bunker cat and they should fix bugs, and brought up they need to add guns and content, and shouldn't do one before the other, which is like impossible. But that's exactly what every other Timmy that he's also complaining about does. So I don't know, bro. I don't know.
You guys gave us a content creators chat that was originally made for us as content creators to give new suggestions to you guys, and you guys in return was supposed to give us patch notes early and actual genuine content that are coming to the game. But honestly, it's just turned into a glorified content creators chat. I mean, which is good, but at the same time, your original idea was even better.
All right, and a point I can actually heavily agree on for him is the content creator chat. Now, if you don't already know, in the Ghost of Tabor Discord, there's a section for content creators to, one, share their videos and their streams, and an exclusive chat to people in the Discord. But more importantly, what he brings up is the actual chat for content creators. And in this chat, you could basically just talk to other creators. When I was in there for a little while, people were like giving each other advice on thumbnails and whatnot. And actually, the Combat Waffle team gave out a media kit and would update it somewhat frequently, so you guys could get extra, or like the people in there could get extra assets for their thumbnails. I used a few of them sometimes from a few different screenshots of the map. So it's not like they were providing absolutely nothing for content creators, but I absolutely understand when he says and brings up the fact that we could be getting more. Now, I'm not in this chat anymore, so I can't really say what's going on in there. I haven't been in the chat for a little bit now. And Z-Storm, if you're watching a 16-minute, 17-minute drama video of something you've already covered, I mean, like, go ahead and put me back in there. But on an actual real note, I really do hope that they do more for content creators, but it's not like they're 100% obligated. I think they're still kicking ass, and they're doing as much as they can, but I overall agree with Nova on this one. I think that patch notes up front and early could be beneficial for getting these videos out earlier and, you know, just more timely and just informing more players about things. Because one of the biggest problems with Tabor for new players especially is just being educated on the game itself. All right, and let me just point out one last thing. I'll play the video on screen right now.
It's been, what, 7, almost 8 months now since you guys said about the island expansion, and we've had nothing of it. All we got is Mika and Mika Underground, which was...
And I just want to bring this up because it's just, why complain about something we did get over something we didn't? Because he brings up that the island expansion has been talked about but not brought out, but we got 2 new maps in the last like 8 months. So I just... there's just a lot of complaints that I don't understand, and I get that a lot of people will and I won't, and that's okay. Not everyone's opinions are gonna line up. And if everyone's opinions lined up, that would be kind of mid as fuck. I'm not even gonna lie, bro. Anyways, do not send any hate towards the 2 creators that I've talked about today. They've already gotten enough hate in their comments for the most part. And honestly, by hate commenting, you literally boost their video. So if you're really upset with them for some reason, just don't do it, I guess. Anyways, sorry for being absent with my videos. If you actually haven't seen the video on screen, it is a fire video where I pretend to be every single boss in Ghost of Tabor. Click it to view it, and I'll see you guys really soon with some new videos.